Time to Talk Tech. Carmi Levy joins us every week at this time, CTV Tech analyst. And Carmi, I heard the story earlier in the week, so attention everybody else or anybody else out there who owns a Sony PlayStation. What has Sony said?
They say that as of January 2028, they will no longer be issuing physical game discs when you buy a game. Instead, you will get a code that you then go download that game to your device. But no more discs, no more physical media for any new games that are released as of January 2028. They are saying that they will continue to release physical media until then, and they will continue to support existing games afterward. But it's pretty clear that the beginning of the end of physical media in gaming is happening now. It happened with music. We no longer buy CDs, of course. We no longer buy DVDs and Blu-rays for movies, not to the degree that we used to. It's becoming harder and harder to find the machines that play them, and now it looks like gaming is going in the same direction.
So just to understand, for so many people out there who may have these Sony PlayStations, the discs you have, obviously they will still work, and you just said you'll still be able to buy them. It's just that when you buy one new now, they're expecting you to download these things from the internet. So it's not as serious as I thought. Am I wrong?
No, it's not. So, existing games will continue to have availability. It's any game that's released after January 2028, like a new game at that point in time. Right. That's the cutoff. So they're kind of giving everyone a little bit of time to prepare for a media-free existence. And of course, the concern is that if you buy a physical game and you bring it home, well, then you can basically play it until the end of time, as long as you don't destroy the disc. However, downloads don't necessarily last forever. You're not buying the actual game, you're buying a license to use it. If Sony someday decides, well, they're no longer going to support it, there's the potential that game might go dark. And of course, you also can't sell them on the used market. You can't bring them back to the store and get a store credit and then buy used versions to save a few dollars. Can't sell them or buy them at a garage sale. So there are a lot of people who are sort of concerned that this takes away a little bit of the power of the consumer, and it's going to make gaming more expensive because a lot of those used or cheaper options are going to go away once we completely transition over.
Okay. Now, beyond sort of Sony PlayStations, anything else we have to worry about for people who, kind of play games and are wondering, are the other competitors going to follow? Is that pretty much where you think this is going?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you look at the numbers, just last year, 80% of all games that were sold were in fact either downloaded or streamed. So the physical gaming or component of the industry is much smaller than it was. And it's essentially the same thing as it has been happening in gaming as has been happening in music and movies as well. We no longer buy physical media. We subscribe to services. You watch a movie on Netflix. You're certainly not going to go to a store and get it. Those stores don't exist anymore. So this is just where the industry is going. But, I sort of did a bit of an experiment with my Spotify account. And Spotify, of course, is for music and podcasts. I took a look at a playlist that I had made about a year ago and kind of abandoned. I hadn't really paid attention to it since then. And I opened it up again, and about half of the songs that I had chosen a year ago were all grayed out because Spotify had decided they were no longer available. So, I don't own that music on Spotify. I could have if I had bought the CDs, but it's up to Spotify to decide when and how I get to access it. And I think that's the same thing that's going to happen with gaming. It's not necessarily a good thing. It is more convenient. We no longer have to carry around all these discs with us, but we're not going to own them, in perpetuity like we have up until now. It shifts the power to these very large companies.
Well, I had no idea. So you're saying you made a list, even if you downloaded a list of songs on something like Spotify, and as you said, you went back a year later, you were not advised at any point that they were not going to be having these songs stay there. You just found this out when you went back to the site.
That's exactly it. And so, the company decides, the platform, the streaming platform decides that this will no longer be available. Maybe they no longer have a licensing agreement. Maybe they no longer support the artist. It's the same thing with movies. You subscribe to Netflix and you get these notifications every month. This movie is
disappearing, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And even if you've downloaded it locally, because there are ways on streaming platforms to download content locally, which you kind of want to do when you go on a road trip or something. You might not have high-speed connectivity. So that's a good thing to do. But even if you download them locally on your device, if the platform removes that work, whether it's a movie or a song or a game, you're done. And there have been a number of headlines in recent weeks about companies deciding to what they call sunset, which is basically turn them off, games that gamers have in fact bought. They've paid for, and now they're no longer available. They can't play them anymore. So, that kind of notion of buying it once and then being able to play it for the rest of your life, that doesn't exist in the streaming world. When we lose physical media, we lose that control.
By the way, I don't want to dwell on this, but I'm just thinking too, if those songs disappeared, could you add them back now to your...
No, and I tried on a number of them, but those artists were in fact no longer supported, or in some cases the artists, some of their other music was supported, but maybe not all of their library was available on that platform. So I had to find them through other means, and I had to go back to a lot of the, I still keep a lot of my old CDs, and then some of them were on CDs, and I had to re-download them, but that's only because I had them. If I didn't,
owned them, right?
Exactly. So I own that physical CD, but if the only way that I play a song is through a streaming service, I don't get to control how long I have access to it. The company does.
Good to know. Let me move on, get to this story. Tesla, I think I saw this story on TV. A driver has been charged with manslaughter. This is in Texas after the car that he was in, I was going to say driving, but I'm not sure he was driving or not, actually drove into someone's home and killed a woman in her home.
Yeah, so the car was, in fact, being driven at a high rate of speed, went off the road, hit the front of the house, and unfortunately this woman, she was a grandmother. She was inside the house, just sort of inside the front of it, and the Tesla hit the home and unfortunately killed her. And so, he admitted after he got out of the car that he had been using, he said he was using autopilot. He was really using full self-driving, which is the semi-autonomous technology that is available on many Tesla vehicles. And of course, this has reignited a debate over how safe this technology really is. Is it fully autonomous, or, is it subject to errors? Is it as safe as Elon Musk, who is the CEO of Tesla, is it as safe as he says it is? And this is yet another accident. There have been a number of them over the years where, the technology has been activated, it has led to an accident, it has killed people, and it has ended up in the courts. And this is the latest one. Tesla, of course, is saying they have the data, and it shows that he, in fact, hit the accelerator just before the accident. They claim that it wasn't. They were able to download the data from the vehicle. They claim that it was not under the control of the automation, but we kind of have to take them at their word, because the company is accessing the data. Is that truly legitimate? Not really sure. And of course, this is going to play out in court. It'll be interesting to see where this goes. The very future of the technology and indeed the Tesla brand kind of hangs in the balance thanks to cases like this.
This is, outside of someone dying tragically in this case, this is not the first time we've heard of, that self-driving mode taking over, right?
It is not. And the problem here is that Tesla markets the FSD, or full self-driving, as exactly that, as fully autonomous, and drivers still have to monitor the system, but it can essentially handle most common driving scenarios. The problem here is this is not what's called full level 5 autonomy. This is not that sophisticated that it can do everything without human oversight. And the problem is it's barely, it's essentially like glorified cruise control. It's pretty good at most things, but for example, when it encounters 18-wheelers, semi-trucks, it sometimes has problems, and it'll pile into them. There have been accidents that involve semis. Same thing with emergency vehicles that were parked on the side of the road. The Tesla bored right in on them and smashed into them while it was under this supposedly autonomous control. So there's a big gap between what the company says the technology is capable of and reality. And this is another example of drivers getting in thinking that it's really good, but in reality it isn't. And unfortunately, a woman lost her life here, and they are now on trial, as they should be.
All right, really quick, let's get to one last story here. Meta quietly launching, I have no idea what this is. What's a vibe-coded gaming app?
So it's an app. The app is called Pocket. Vibe coding is basically it's like a chat bot. You tell it, please create this app for me. Here are the features that I want, and it goes ahead and it makes an app for you. You don't have to know how to be a software developer. You don't have to know how to code. You don't have to be an expert. Vibe coding is essentially developing software without knowing how to code. And so this app, they're releasing it. It'll allow you to create small interactive apps and games basically by using an AI prompt in much the same way that you would tell ChatGPT to do something for you. Vibe coding is a really big thing, of course, if you're a software developer. Kind of concerning because it means AI can now do what you went to school to do. But, they're not saying this is going to replace all software development, but it does put some very simple and effective tools into the hands of people who might not have been able to create an app before. Now they can.
Wow. All right, there you go. Carmi, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
The newest tracks. Let's go. New music. And the next big thing.
Always on the new music first.
Your first place to hear it all.
'Cause you gon' like it, love it, wanna play it twice. Playing now.
iHeart New Music. Your digital station for brand new drops, fresh finds, and tomorrow's bangers.
I think we need something new.
Discover iHeart New Music. Always fresh, always first. Stream now on the free iHeartRadio app.